What's going on YouTube? Hope you're all well, and a special hello to my 17 gorgeous followers. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to get to learn how to use the hip flexors, and the hip flexors are the muscle groups which, as long as the leg stays straight, it's leg up, which is quite easy to do, but not so easy when you've got the frame on. The hip flexors, as I say, lift the leg up, and they're going to be really important for especially me walking and all you other framers who are going to have trouble later on just trying to get that leg in front. Now, we've got some real good muscle wastage going on here. That's something which I'm going to have to deal with when the frame comes off, which I've actually got the good news is it's coming off next Wednesday. So it's certainly something to look forward to, but a little bit apprehensive, because it then means that my knee, which hasn't bent for 3 months, is going to have the opportunity just to flap around a little bit. I went to the hospital yesterday, and the surgeon said everything was really good, and as I say, gave me the heads up for the operation 3 months ahead of schedule. So really happy with that. And what he did do while I was there was he dynamized the frame. Now what that basically means is he undid some of these screws. When it was originally fitted, the frame was incredibly rigid, and all my body weight would be transferred around the frame, taking the work away from my break side. So I broke the top of my tibia, and that's why I haven't been able to bend my knee. So what's happened now is the screws have been loosened, which means the frame now has some give to it, which then means that the pins start to move around, and that's actually causing me a bit of pain. It's like being back at square one again, but I'm not too worried, because even though it feels as though it's back at square one, it's actually at a whole new level. And as I say, I'm very close to getting my operation, getting it all taken off. So at the end of the day, even though it hurts, it's actually all positive. Now, when I was originally going to do this film, the whole frame was still nice and solid, and I was able to move my leg up and down, just like that one. But now what's happened is, because as you saw, this part of the frame starts to move, it's actually allowing a few degrees more flexion in my knee, which I haven't had, as I say, for 3 months. And what that then means is the exercise of lifting my leg up to get the hip flexors working has become much harder, which I suppose at the end of the day is absolutely fine, because any of you people out there who are struggling with the early set of the frame and you're finding it really difficult to lift a leg up, within reason I'm in the same boat as you, but I'm still going to do the video and show you how I'll just soldier on and just see what we can do. So all that's going to happen is, it's pretty simple really, it's just got to deal with the pain, is the hip flexors and one of your quadriceps, the middle quadricep, the rectus femoris, which actually crosses the top of your thigh and joins onto the kneecap and then crosses over. That's going to assist in lifting that leg up. So all we do is from here, ready, lift that leg up, try and hold it for 3 to 5 seconds, and then slowly move it back down again, and then just relax. As we move it up again, what you'll see is the muscles, what muscle there is there, contract. So even before I lift the leg up, the muscles will activate, and that will actually cause a bit of tension through the knee. And then again, we just lift that leg straight up. And we can lift the leg up as far as we want to go, or as far as we can go, and then control it back down again. And when I first started this, I couldn't hold it for 5 seconds. I couldn't hold it for 4, 3 or 2 seconds. So I had to start right at the beginning, and the beginning was just basically up, and then control it back down again. Up, and then control it back down again. Once I built up to around about 10 or 20 repetitions, what I then did is I then start to add the pause into it. When you add the pause, you just make the difficulty harder. which therefore means you probably can't do as many repetitions because you'll get tired, but it's all about progression. It's what's called progressive overload. You've got to overload the system, make things a little bit more difficult each time you can achieve a previous level, and that forces the body and the nervous system and muscular system to adapt and get stronger and stronger and stronger. My job is a personal trainer, and before the break and before lockdown, I was on my feet for around about 16 hours a day. So I'm finding this quite a challenge at the moment. There we go. And the thought of trying to do this or just basically walk, especially on two legs for 16 hours, is a little bit daunting. But the best thing to do if you're thinking about the future and the long road that you've got to go to, and you find yourself actually getting a little bit stressed out about it because it is such a long way, try and forget about it. Think about it's the longest journey you're going to go on, but you've got to start from square one. It's like when I'm training with my clients for the marathon, forget about running the 26 miles first of all. Just think about running 1 mile. And if you can't run a mile, just do half a mile. Once you've done 1, go for 2. Once you've done 2, go for 3. Just keep building and building and building. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just go with it. So, we're going to tighten up. We're going to lift 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then control it back down. We're going to lift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again control it back down. Now, if you're finding that you haven't used these muscles for quite a long time, not only will you get some muscle wastage, but you'll also get some neural deactivation. In other words, the nervous system will forget how to activate the muscles, which will in turn make the muscle weaker and cause a little bit of atrophy or muscle breakdown and muscle wastage. So your first few repetitions, or even maybe your first day, but probably your first few repetitions, you're going to find it's really, really difficult. As long as it's not too painful, go with it. Oh, that's another thing. Take your meds beforehand. If you are finding it painful, take your meds beforehand, probably around about half an hour, just so they can actually get into the system. It'll decrease the pain and allow you just to push a little bit harder, push through the pain barrier. What you'll find is when all the nervous system starts to fire back up, and in turn it'll fire the muscle system back up again, you'll actually start to recruit a lot more muscle fibers, and in a short space of time, you'll actually feel as though you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So we contract, we lift up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back down again, or move on to the next level, don't go all the way back down, and back up. Hold for 5, don't go all the way back down again, and come back up again. Now what that does is every time you do put the leg down, you're effectively giving yourself a rest. So by not putting the foot down or the leg down, you're not giving yourself the rest through the hip flexors. It's increasing that muscle. Oh, by the way, that was my tracksuit trousers. But because I can't put a big frame on it, I've had to cut down the side, and so once the frame's off, I can buy myself a new pair of tracky trousers. So we go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back down again, and I can instantly feel it's actually starting to get stronger. So it's waking up. From here, what we can do is we can actually start to play around with a few things. We can work on turning the leg out. See how it's shaking? The nervous system and the muscles, they don't know what's going on. They're not used to it anymore, so they're kind of weak. Back in again. You can also take the leg out and back in. Take the leg out, up, down. This upper leg bone is called the femur, and the femur goes into the hip ball and socket joint. The ball and socket joint of the femur can move in so many different directions. So just think about when you're walking normally, when you're just doing stuff. It can go all the way forwards, hip flexion. It can go all the way out to the side, hip abduction. It can go all the way across to the other side, hip adduction. And won't do it here, probably do it in another video, but they can go all the way back, hip extension. We've got rotation, internal rotation. So the hip can do so much stuff. And at the end of the day, you've got to try and work all those ranges of movement as best as you can, because that's what's going to happen when the frame comes off and you want to get back to normality again. You want to stand there with a foot out, a foot across, do whatever you want to do, and however you did it before the actual injury itself. So play around with different ranges of movement. I would try and build up to around about 20 repetitions of just normal reps. Soon as you can do 20 repetitions, start to add some pauses in. So we did 5 seconds. You can do 4, you can do 10, you can do whatever you want. It's just keep progressing and progressing and progressing until you get tired. Have a bit of a rest, maybe take around about 90 seconds rest, and then you go back again. Like I said, I'm going to be wanting to be standing up for 16 hours a day. And then if I go out after work, I'm going to be standing up even longer. So there's going to be a lot of endurance going through these muscle groups. So at the end of the day, if we can just do 3 minutes now, we'll do 3 minutes now. A couple of days' time, we can do 5 minutes worth of work. A couple of days after that, you can do 8 minutes work, 12 minutes work. Keep on building, keep on working. I hope this really helped. If you need anything, just leave a comment below. Subscribe if you like, ring the bell, and I'll see you for the next one. See you later. Bye-bye.